Ahoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Pirate National Committee. We are once again meeting weekly on live stream. This is our closed Pirate National Committee meeting. Next week it'll be an open meeting, so anyone who wants to attend these meetings, the link will be in the description, the link will be in the Discord. You'll be able to join us if you wish. However, tonight it is strictly for Pirate National Committee business, and we have Pirate National Committee members here. So I will go in order of alphabetically in terms of roll call. And then if you are here, give your ID and restate the state you're from and any roles if you have them. Arizona.
Okay, I just had to cough at a moment. Evercrucial ACPP web director here.
Thank you. Since we have two Florida reps, we will start with the voting rep of Florida, and then we will go on to our alternate rep.
Wanda Ward, Florida Pirate Party, and U.S. Pirate Party Swarm Care Manager.
Thank you.
David Hull, the co-chair of Florida Pirate Party.
Thank you. Illinois.
Rowan Tipping, proud Illinois Pirate Party member and PR director for the U.S. Pirate Party.
Most excellent. Thank you, sir. Indiana.
Ashley Melody, interim rep for the Indiana Pirates.
Against all odds here, or perhaps destined. Thank you, Ashley. Maryland.
Joel Lightfoot, Maryland captain and U.S. Pirate Party auditor.
Thank you kindly, Joel. Massachusetts.
Joseph Honorowski, Massachusetts, lookout.
Thank you, Joe. Can I get Ohio?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Mike from Ohio. I do Ohio stuff.
Well, thank you kindly for doing Ohio stuff tonight. Pennsylvania.
Drew Bingaman, Pennsylvania Pirates.
Perfect. Thank you. And last but not least, Texas. Texas does not have a representative here tonight. So thank you kindly. All right. Let's get into business. I know we have old business from last time. I apologize to anyone who was looking forward to last week's meeting. We did end up canceling very last minute. That's on me. And that's on me mostly because we should really have a schedule of when the Sunday holiday meetings are going to be so we can pre-cancel and work around them, because I do regret having a meeting on Monday when people weren't going to be available or when people had, things they want to do with their families. So we gave people that opportunity on Father's Day. And I think moving forward, what we should at least write in stone that, maybe at captain's discretion, maybe at people's discretion, but we will at least identify the holidays a year out so we can, have that. So that's just something I want to address publicly and say I apologize because the short notice was on me. But Joe, go ahead.
Can you just add next week's meeting, it being the 4th of July?
So next week's meeting will be the 5th of July, and that is a good point, actually. So, Joe, and after we get reports in, I think that should be one of the things we can discuss today. I really don't think we want to cancel a meeting on the 5th of July, but I will, since it's on the table, we can discuss it. However, see, yeah, we are celebrating a 5th. 5th of whiskey. Thank you. But no, Joe, we will discuss it after reports. So, and after we get through some old business, because I think it's a fair discussion. I know how I personally feel, but we'll see how everyone else feels. Speaking of reports, speaking of news, speaking of committees, are there any new business committees, updates from states, committees, or candidates? Rowan, go ahead.
There we go. I just wanted to report on the week previous's press committee meetings, because we didn't do one this week because, I felt like last week's was reportable enough for this meeting. But in short, we posted 2 YouTube shorts on the Pirate Party YouTube account. If you haven't already seen them, try to check them out. And whatchamacallit, yeah, no, they're both from the convention, and they're getting lots of views and interaction, and that's kind of the main thing I wanted to report from the press committee, to YouTube Shorts. And yeah.
Thank you. Now, before we go any further, I realize and I want to apologize to the two of you, and the three of you now, but the last one just came in. We jumped into committees after doing IDs for all the state members. We had missed out on the observer states, and I apologize for that. So, by all means, I want to get that done now. Can I get IDs out of? We'll start with Lily, or I guess in this case, Lily, go ahead with the ID. I apologize.
Lily Boyd, United States Scribe, Alabama.
Thank you. And then our guest from Maine.
Elliot Smith, observer from Maine.
Thank you. And last but not least, Darren. If Darren is here and Darren wants to ID.
Hello, sorry. I froze up for a second. Darren McKeeman, Treasurer, California Pirate Party and the U.S. Pirate Party.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Darren. So that is our IDs. I apologize to our observer members for skipping over you. That is usually not the case. I'm still trying to get the kinks out with my calling everyone in alphabetical versus just how I see them. So apologies about that. I will be better moving forward. Drew, go ahead.
Well, just a quick update on my campaign. The Forward Party decided to decline to endorse my campaign, mainly because they believe that I have run afoul of the sore loser law that's in Pennsylvania. The court cases do not support that. Do not support that stance, but that's their prerogative. Yesterday was a day that we tried to go out to canvass for signatures, but it was raining all day and really just shit on everything. I do have a meet and greet on Monday at the local library. I'm hoping to get some people there, and I've been promoting it on Facebook and social media. So we'll see. But things are not looking real great right now. It's getting harder and harder to get people out, and especially when the weather doesn't cooperate, it's not working out so well. But anyways, we're soldiering on. We're not giving up yet, and see if we can still get there by the end of July.
Right on. Thank you, Drew. And, Rowan, if you want to clip this, you can. But just know that if you're in Pennsylvania and you wanted to assist with the United States Pirate Party, there may not be a better opportunity for you than to help with the Drew Bingaman campaign and help us get signatures, get them on the ballot, and really just fight for an independent voice at the state level. Frankly, we need on-the-ground help as much as anyone. Every cause needs that on the ground help. Not everyone that gets involved with the Pirate Party will want to show up to PNC. Some people may just want to vote for us. Some people may want to, show up to events. But this is ultimately the fruits of our labor, or the candidates we run and the change we try to make on the ground. So if you're in Pennsylvania, if you're watching, we are asking if you support the Pirate Party, if you feel so inclined to help us, this is the best way you can help us out in the immediate and the short term. Well, thank you, Drew. And then we will post about it tomorrow, and not beyond in case you missed it. But if there's any upcoming events you want to just promote on top of that, just let us know, and we'll be sure to, continue to make posts about it and get it as publicized as we possibly can. Joe, go ahead.
I just wanted to say to you, Drew, real quick, that even if you don't make it on the ballot, the fact that you're out there, you're fighting, you're campaigning. There have been many candidates in Massachusetts before I became a candidate, and many people who put in the blood, sweat, and tears. So everything that you're doing is not for naught. it's helping further the pirate agenda. You're one of us, and you're doing it. And even if you don't even make it on the ballot, the fact that you're putting the effort in is huge. And so we appreciate you.
Thank you, Joe. Sorry I missed you earlier. I was working all day today.
Yeah, I figured. I understand.
Well, right on. Thank you, Joe. Thank you all. That said, is there any other committee updates, any candidate updates, anything from anybody?
The AC branch has updates.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. Firstly, we announced we're having a special election to fill in the vacancy for the AC branch lookout slash outreach director. The member Jaden won and is now our new outreach director. Secondly, the IT committee had a lot to discuss. It was cybersecurity and the privacy of the website was featured, like on Ox's recommendation. Enabled dependency scanning on GitHub, for example. We also have our first version of the About Us page set up, but we may be working on a content management system, partially so that board members can choose optionally to upload pictures and a description onto there. We also discussed building the encrypted communications network.
Right on. Thank you so much.
There's actually a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I let you do your thing.
I don't know why I'm having difficulties. Two options presented are Matrix and something that Ox is building. But we even discussed these mesh network products like Meshtastic, Meshcore, and Reticulum. Thirdly, we concluded the Plunder Hunger food drive yesterday. It was a great success. But we also talked about future drives we could do, such as toy, electronic, orphanage drives, and doing them at times during the year where they would be relevant. Lastly, we talked about the IHS Indian Health Service protest again. We're moving forward with it. Members got an update that the Southside Church passed on information to the respective elders, but they can't guarantee they will get back to us. We'll provide a follow-up. The protest date was pushed to July 5th because it happened to be a good time. We also talked more about the ways we can get the protest rolling, such as outreach to other Native contacts we may have, to media contacts we may have, and making a flyer, finally with the right theme, preaching being safe, making speeches, that wasn't mentioned, but that will be happening. Also, Maggie mentioned that there were a lot of people who came into Tucson the other day through Uber to train for a federal agency without commenting on which agency, which may mean a significant increase of federal enforcement, aka ICE. Okay, that is the conclusion. That is a lot.
No, I
It
appreciate
was
it.
hard to know, I must admit.
Well, no, thank you. I appreciate you for taking the time to lay that all on the table for us. And And it's good because everything that you laid out, we can include in the in case you missed it tomorrow. So that works out well. So thank you.
Great.
Further to that point, and this goes for really everybody, if there's ever a time where you say, "Hey, we have on this date, our state chapter is planning on doing something," feel free to either forward that information to myself or to Rowan or to Lily or to really anyone on the board. But I'm thinking about the people who should have that information privy when it comes to like dates and recording these dates down, because we can absolutely take our time to put out like coming this week or some to that effect, to where like those who are peeking into the Pirate Party can see like, all right, well, what are the activities that are going to happen? It's one thing to let everyone know that, hey, we look how active we are. We've been doing these things. But I think it would be smart for us to start also providing people the opportunity to get involved with these things before we actually, do them. So on that point, thank you, because I did hear you mention quite a bit of the upcoming dates on that one, and obviously Drew has upcoming events happening. So it'll be stuff like that. Just as we get these dates, we can put them in, and we can make sure that we can promote everything properly as they come. So thank you so much. Joe, go ahead.
Actually, on that note, is there possibly a shared calendar that we can create where the captains can sign in? This is more of a tech question for the tech team, but to make a shared calendar that each state representative and or captain or both can sign in to post stuff to the national committee.
I assume both Lily and Wanda's hands are in response to you, Joe. So I'm going to allow both of them to answer that, assuming that is indeed what your hands are.
You can, if you have a login to the current WordPress, there is a calendar. So just getting login info for that for relevant people could be done, and you can put events there on that calendar. It just has been unused for years.
Well, I noticed, and Wanda, you can go ahead in just a moment, but I did notice that Jamie added the calendar event, the conference. So there clearly is still a way for us to do it. We just don't utilize it the way we probably should. But to Lily's point, there definitely is a way to do it.
I was
Well,
going
you know
to
what?
say there's an events tab, and then there's a state party events tab. If they're state party events, people with access to the WordPress can add those events to the website under that tab.
You know what? I was planning on reaching out to Jamie this week as part of my lookout duties. I can most certainly have him teach me how to do that, and then as part of my lookout duties, making sure each captain has access to that.
All right, right on. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Darren. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to have access to that too. We're coming up on some events that we're going to be doing here in July. So July 20th through 26th, we're going to be out at Ephemeral, which is a giant libertarian raft up in the California Delta up here. And it's a week. It's sort of like Burning Man on the water. So we'll have a couple of boats out there. We'll have a big flag, and we'll be talking pirate stuff. So.
Right on. Thank you, Darren. Yeah, that'd be good information to pass along. So thank you. Joe, go ahead.
Sorry to be taking up the meeting so much, but I just wanted to report as the lookout. Both people I reached out to for the lookout, in my position of the lookout, both being Darren from California and Drew from Pennsylvania. I wasn't able to get in touch with either of them, but they both showed up at the meeting, so I still feel like I'm a success.
Oh, Joe, you're working hard. Don't think you're not a success. So I appreciate you. And
But what I would like to request from you, Mitch, is the contact info from every captain as part of the lookout. I think we should have a list that the chair has and also maintained by the lookout in order to make sure that we have contact to every captain so that I can do my duties.
I happen to agree, and I think that's a good point and a good idea. I would say that PNC members, you would know what your state captain is, and I would just gather up that information and, either send that to me, send that to Lily, send that to really anybody on the captaincy. You could send that to Blaze if you'd like to, but ultimately on the board. But ultimately, if you know that you are a captain, a co-captain, however you stand with your state party, for PNC members, send that up. Make sure we know exactly who you guys identify as the captain. If you are forming a state party and you say, there's no state party, there is no captain, but I think I'm willing to put in that effort to form a state party, that kind of makes you the captain of your state party, even if it's just by default and for now. That's still, and believe you me, I don't think I've ever been around long enough to see someone, form a state party and then not end up at least the first captain. So if you're willing to make that effort into forming a state party, typically you will end up your captain. So, but that's just something to consider. Uh Thank you, Joel. Uh yeah, right on. Other than that, just make sure that I or someone else from the board gets a list from you or gets notification from you based on who is the captain of your state chapter. And then we'll gather that information. We'll send it to Joe, or you can send to Joe directly. It doesn't matter as long as we end up with that list. We will be able to gather them up and make sure that all the captains are in proper communication with one another, so we can be a more organized clutter of state parties. It'll be good. Thank you. Was there anything else in terms of reports? If not, we could always jump into the old business. Joel, go ahead.
So I got to meet this weekend with pirates from the DMV. We went out to a pirate themed event at a place none of us had ever heard of called the Dragon's Den. And we handed out flyers, and we started with just handing out the existing DMV Pirate Party flyers just to kind of feel it out. Proof of concept worked out really well. We talked to about 40 people, handed out about 40 flyers. Most of the people who took a flyer from us expressed some level of interest, and at least a half dozen expressed, wanting to know more or looking for information about our next event. So we're moving in a positive direction. We're planning to do another meeting next month at a makerspace here in Ellicott City. Because it's kind of halfway between us, and I've never been to a makerspace, so I'm really looking forward to it. And then because that one event was such a success, we're actually going to keep meeting at the same place until people just know we're the pirates, and I'm going to create some Maryland Pirate Party trifolds that I can just take with me, put them in people's hand. And I'm going to key in on like 2, maybe 3 issues at most, so that everybody who takes a flyer can kind of get on board with just a few issues without muddying the waters too much.
Right on. Thank you, Joel. It's exciting news, and looking to hear more about what might come of these meetings. I'm glad to hear the DMV pirates were able to get together. That's very exciting news. Thank you. Anything else from anyone else? If not, I know there's one piece of old business from last week we could jump right into. Anything, anyone? Floor's open. I'm hearing none. Lily, can you give us our one piece of old business?
So under old business, this was tabled last week for discussion on 26 conference and thoughts on a 27 conference location.
Right on. So first of all, for those of you who weren't able to attend in person, I I want to hear from you guys first. How did the conference go from a remote standpoint? How did you guys feel everything went? How do you feel about the process? How do you feel about just how everything went for those that couldn't attend in person? I'll say no news is good news if no one has any gripes or complaints or anything.
Well, right.
Went well, perfect. And then Joe, I was just about to say, if those who attended in person, is there anything that we liked, disliked, want to talk about?
Actually, I wanted to first discuss the out of person. I think Jitsi really was quite cumbersome on us being able to connect with or talk with people. I think we had a lot of issues with it with the refurb, and I'm hoping that we could find a better solution. None of us want to actually pay the corporates of Zoom, but I think that it would be worthy of our time to figure out a better solution for in-person and online interconnectability, because it was really hard for me to pay attention to the people online because their faces weren't becoming the forefront. And so I think that does deserve some thought of a better way of doing it.
That's a great point, Joe. Thank you for bringing it up because I do agree. I know at one point during the live stream, we got very lucky. Like the audio cut out in the live stream during like my speech, but we were able to upload the individual speech because there were extra microphones that picked up on it. And then there were aspects of that speech that I saw where when I was being asked a question, we couldn't hear it through the speakers, but I was able to hear it on my phone. So there's like long pauses where I'm listening to what's being said to me on the phone and responding to it. But those that are watching at home may not completely, understand what's actually happening, may not understand what I'm responding to. Now, to be clear, I did like turn my volume all the way up. And if you really listen in, we probably could put in captions during those moments, but at the same time, this is everything that's happening in post. What about the people who are watching live? What about the people who are trying to, keep up with it in living color as it's happening? So that's all very good points, Joe. Thank you for bringing it up because as we do look forward to the next conference, we do have to think about like, how are we going to set up these things for the next conference? We don't know if it's where it's going to be just yet. And despite how hard I've been pushing for a specific location, we haven't voted on nothing, so we actually can't say that. But with that said, I think it is worth having a discussion, not only continuing our thoughts about how this conference went. I think we should put some stock into the next conference because I think the more time we have to plan, the more information we have to give to people about, where is it going to be? Here's some bookings. Here's some hotel recommendations. Here's a itinerary for what we plan on doing. I think people would appreciate that, and we did have that. We did provide it to anyone who showed up in person. We had things that we were doing. We had tracks we were doing. But I certainly think that the more time we have for these things, the better. Uh, Definitely, I want to get 2027 squared away as soon as possible. Maybe even 2028 if we get to that point, but most definitely 2027. But let's talk about the 2027 conference briefly. Let's knock it out really quick. You'll go ahead.
I just wanted to briefly ask how many people participated in person at this 26th conference?
Joe, you're gonna have to back me up on this, but I believe the total number of in person was either 9 or 10.
Yeah, because we had Hunter and his wife. We had a slew of Massachusetts people. Christine. We had Jamie, Steve, myself. We had another person who I believe was coming from New York. And
it cost me more not to come than it probably cost any of you to go.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you my transition went up.
You were missed as well.
Yeah, you were missed. We were looking forward to having you there. It was a shame.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it, and since it is so small, I'm just going to throw it out there. Maryland would be willing to host.
And you know what? That's really not a bad option because I think the next conference that we were considering, we're thinking regionally. And whereas the first in person conference when we had it back, whether you consider the Great Lakes or whether you consider it Midwestern, it was in Chicagoland. The second one after that was the West Coast when we were in San Francisco. And this last one was East Coast in New England and Boston. So I think the natural progression would be somewhere, you know, that we haven't hit yet. I think Maryland would be a nice option. Uh, One option that I personally have been throwing out there, and we can discuss all options in a second. Throw out some names, and maybe as soon as next week we can put more stock into this. But my recommendation was based on the list we got from last year of recommendations, and that would be Mobile, Alabama, where we could have an almost carbon copy conference where we could start on the USS Alabama and move on to our conference from there. Keeping on with tradition, where pirates invade a ship and then have our conference. Uh, and that
There's
sounds.
also Arizona.
There is also Arizona, and to be clear, Blaze has been a big proponent of us having a conference in Arizona as well. I apologize, Hunter, if you're watching and you don't want me throwing it out there, but Sparks, Nevada has also been considered as a 2027 conference, which would be, the West without being West Coast. All regions of the country that I would really like to cover. Me personally, I think the thing about Alabama that's so appealing is we've hit what is, by all intents and purposes, safe blue areas. And I think a thing about Alabama and Mobile specifically is not only is there pirate history we can play off of, but I think it'd be nice to remind the rest of the country, like, hey, these issues, like, we're thinking about you too. It's one thing to say, like, hey, we're gonna go where tech issues are important in Chicago or Boston or San Francisco. But I think to go to a city like Alabama, or Mobile, Alabama, rather, where you're not going to see a Democratic National Conference or a Republican National Conference hosted. I think it is important to go to a city like Mobile and say, hey, by the way, not only do we care about you guys, but like these issues mean something to you too. Clean water is going to mean something to you. The flock cameras going up are going to mean something to you. We really want to make sure that everyone knows, like, hey, the pirate party is for everybody. Safe harbor to all except the enemies of liberty. And no safe harbor for fascists. So I think that's a reason to push for Mobile personally, but that's just. I'm also basing this off the fact, like I said earlier, that Mobile was one of our finalist options when we did the bracket. There were already enough people who said, like, yeah, Mobile sounds like a good choice, which is why I've been, pushing that one a little harder than I maybe would another option. But for sure, I think I would like this one to have a little more of a twang to the conference, for lack of a better term. Drew, go ahead.
I just would like to put it out there that it should be a good idea to choose a city where somebody is willing to host. Before we just jump into saying let's have it here, it would be best to know that somebody's willing to host there and to try to put something together. But
It's very true, Drew. So thank you. That's it's important to not get I guess the word I'm thinking of is utopic about it, to think that everything would just fall into place if we just vote on it. It's good to actually have those well, hang on moments. So thank you, Drew. I appreciate that. I think the order is Wanda, then Joe.
I just wanted to ask what all hosting would entail because, like, I'm only an hour from Mobile. Like, it's basically right in my backyard.
Well, on that note, I would actually say I would probably direct you to Jamie to just have more of a idea based on the fact that he just put together what I would call a more successful conference than the 24 conference was, which is the one that I put together. But really, it's just a matter of finding a host place It's a matter of making sure that there's an itinerary, which I don't need. There really wasn't an itinerary when I hosted. That's something that Jamie put together, and it's something I don't want to lose. I want people to be like, hey, since you're here, here's something that we can do. Here is what the plan is for the day, and here's what's on the agenda. Like it's literally just time for activities, place to eat, where the conference is actually going to be, making sure that if you can't get all the equipment, if it can be provided by either the hotel, the library, the conference center, wherever it ends up being hosted. But just know that Jamie, I want to be clear, as much as I want to lend as much of a hand as I could to Jamie had it under control, and I would have been more in the way. That said, you will not have such a process in 27, whereas I will be a little more hands-on. And I will be happy to make any phone calls that need to be made and try to get the bookings that need to be booked. Because I've made a few phone calls when I thought the conference might have been in Vicksburg. So I'm good for it, I promise you. Uh, Anything else, Wanda? Or if not, I'll jump into Joe.
Yeah, just wanted to say I'd be happy to help for the Mobile conference. That's all.
Right on. Thank you. And then Joe, go ahead.
Not to take the wind out of your sails, my good friend Mitch, but that plan was mine, and Jamie followed up on it. But it was, that plan put together was me, and I put a lot of legwork in. And I'd be happy to share that with anyone, but not to take anything from Jamie, because as spastic as I was at making the plan, Jamie was an absolute workhorse executing it. So,
There's a role for
'cause
everybody.
Yes,
I
and
am a
Joe,
squirrel chasing a car. So,
and Joe, let me be clear. I don't want to minimize your role in the performance, because not only was I proud of the Massachusetts Pirates in general, but you and Jamie put together a conference that was truly memorable. I truly had a great time. And the care that you guys put in to make sure that everything was also available by transit, that you could take a bus or a train everywhere if you really wanted to. It was very well put together, very well planned. And by the way, I did take a train in and out of Boston every day that I was there. So thank you so much. It was a great conference, and it is truly the bar that has now been set for conferences moving forward. I hope you know that. You've ruined it for everybody.
well, that being
Yeah.
said, I'm happy to help, but to further Drew's point, not only should Captain be willing to host it in their city, but I think that it should be not that I don't want barbecue from Alabama, because I've been down there. The food is absolutely amazing, but so are crabs from Maryland. And if a captain is willing to host, then, and we haven't gone there yet, I think that we should definitely jump in on that. So I think personally that kind of weighs me towards Joel more than Mobile, because I don't know the Alabama captain quite yet.
Right on. Well, it's much appreciated, Joe. Thank you. Uh, I will go into Joel and then Wanda and then James. If you wish to participate, you can ID after they make their statements. If you wanted to just sit back and observe, you could also do that. But we'll go into Joel, then Wanda, and then James. If you briefly want the floor, you may take it to ID. But go ahead, Joel.
Okay, I was just gonna say, it sounds like maybe we can the various state parties that are active, talk amongst yourselves, figure out if you want to host, and maybe we each take a turn to just pitch it, and we don't need to decide right away. That way we got a chance to formalize our bid and say, hey, this is what I can bring to the table. I'm just going to say we got the USS Constellation in the harbor, so just throwing that out there.
There is not a bad option when a ship is involved. Thank you, Joel. Wanda, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, while Alabama doesn't have an active pirate party, I mean, me and Lily are right here. I'm right on the Alabama state line. I again would be more than willing to help if Alabama is ultimately the location.
Might I just throw out here, just because it's already sounding like this might be a conversation that's going to last more than just this meeting. Let us set a deadline. 4 weeks from today will be July 26th. Let us set that as the day that we pick out the location for the 2027 conference. Because I think after 4 weeks of duking it out and having conversation and figuring out what would truly be our best course of action, I think after 4 weeks we can pinpoint it. Because I think that Maryland has its benefits, and I think Mobile has its benefits, and frankly, I think Blaze and Hunter are going to want their crack at it too. So, uh, would anyone be opposed? And we can continue this conversation right now. I'm not trying to uh, put this forward to exit, but would anyone be opposed to setting a deadline on the vote to say that on July 26th of 2026? We will have officially picked out the location for the conference. Drew, go ahead.
I would suggest that if we want to do that, that we should have anybody that is interested in hosting just give us a pitch in that meeting. That way, it makes it easier on us to know that we have somebody that actively wants to host.
Drew, I will do you one better. I know we think we probably want to move away from the Google Forms when it comes to collecting data for the conference. However, I think I'd be willing to make a quick Google form just to say, hey, we're if you were looking to host the conference, or if you would like to see your city host the conference, maybe give us your city, give us a rationale why, how much would you be willing to help organize? And then maybe we can get that deadline, in 2 weeks. So that way we can have an actual list of what we're working off of. Because it definitely sounds like Mobile will be on the table. I'm sure Tucson's going to be on the table. Joel, just out of curiosity, where specifically in Maryland would you have in mind?
Well, I'm like 30 minutes north of Baltimore, so I would go to downtown Inner Harbor.
Right on.
That time of year, you're talking the O's, you're talking about crabs, you're talking about all the things that we want to do. So
Perfect. Thank you, Joel. So I guess for a short list, just without getting input from our western states, as of right now, we can consider that short list to be Mobile and Baltimore. Uh, which that's a good short list so far, I gotta say. Uh, and then yes, Drew, to your point, I will make that Google form. So within 2 weeks before the actual vote, we will know what we for sure are going to be working at. So we should be able to pin it down from there. Joe, go ahead.
I would like to request us pushing the vote out a little bit longer. One, for us to shore up any plans that we may have, or like get an outline of what we want to discuss and how we want to discuss it. But I would like to give it more like a 3-month window, so that way we don't interfere with current ongoing campaigns.
So Joe, let me ask you, are you looking for like September? Would that be more so the window you're looking for?
Or maybe I'm saying after the conference ends, we have the new election that give us like a 3-month grace period from that new election to start picking locations for the next location. So that way we have it codified. Okay, we just had our election. In 3 months' time, this is when we want to have our next location for next year.
Oh, so you're saying you would like an actual codified deadline put into place that for future conferences you have like 3 months until you have to plan the next conference.
And within 2 months, you have to put in your bid for et cetera, et cetera. And that way we can bylaw it, we can codify it. This is what we do. Here's how you do it, states. And really just basically setting it up for the future.
Thank you, Joe. That's a good point, good suggestion. For what it's worth, I think we did put in some kind of bylaws change in regards to like planning the conference. So we should explore that and make sure, because I don't think that's anything I'm necessarily opposed to, and whatever the will of the people is, if you guys are opposed or unopposed to that, we will discuss. Thank you, Joe. Joel, go ahead.
I really like the idea of if we wait till August, we can go ahead and make our pitches next month, but that gives us a full, month once we've all thrown the pitch out there. But my next question would be, I know you said something about the Google form. Do we know, what the expectations are for a host city or a host state?
Well, I would say there's really nothing set in stone as to what we would expect. I would
Okay.
say all three conferences had their own flavor of what was actually done in terms of, what is available to those who attend in person. I actually believe, as I'm thinking about it, I'm the only one who has attended all three in person conferences in person. So I would say, just based on my experience, just having a spot for lunch, having a location for the conference, having the technology, or at least making sure someone has the technology, and just having a timeline of when things are happening. I don't think that there's any necessity to, like, hey, we need to make sure that we're doing X, Y, and Z. Uh, to Darren's credit, when we had the California conference, there was a event available for fireworks, which unfortunately I somehow slept straight through. And Darren, I still feel bad about it. I apologize about that. But if you give someone something to, if there's an event for the Pirates, for example, we had three things we were able to do in Massachusetts, where you were able to go on the Freedom Trail, you were able to go on the boat, the duck boat tours, or the third option, which we had planned in for under your recommendation, Joel, was if people want to stay at Paul Revere Park and do the park cleanup. That was also an option we had left for people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I went to the Chicago Hounds game immediately afterwards. We won, by the way. Not to get too political, but my Hounds were undefeated. Oh my God. Fuck yeah. Apologies. I got a little excited over there. But undefeated. I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic. That is to say, Joel, that as long as there's things for those who attended, if they came all this way, let's give them something to do. Let's give them a place to eat, and give them some recommendations on some hotels they can stay at.
And I'm going to ask the next big question: what's the budget look like?
Unfortunately, I think that is the $1 million question, and one that we would have to.
No, I don't have $1 million. Let's ask a smaller question.
Yeah.
We try and keep it as cheap as possible. Something that any one of us in Massachusetts could have afforded.
I'm going to tell you,
it was only like $250
hour out here.
A lot of the times we have conferences at libraries that allow us to do it for free. I mean, that's what we did in Chicago. We can always do it in the park. We can raid. And I think just having some flavor of Maryland, something that's really cool, historical for Maryland, or historical from any place we go, that's going to like touch us in the citizenships. So.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Joel, when I was looking at Vicksburg, when I thought for sure I would win, and Massachusetts pulled it out at the very end, which, thank you, by the way. I think the conference was better suited in Boston than it was Vicksburg. But when I was looking at Vicksburg, I was very willing and ready to pull the trigger on having the conference take place on the Ameristar Riverboat Casino, because it's shaped like a riverboat, and it would have been pirates having their conference aboard a boat. And I wouldn't have regretted it. And I stick to my guns about 2031 in Vicksburg, but that's beside the point. But I think that creativity is welcome. There's no penalty for picking a location as long as the location is suitable for a conference. And when we say suitable, we just mean, can you hear everyone? Do we have the proper technology to run the live stream? And if it's yes to those, then typically it should be good to go. If I've been to meetings where they took place in a floor above a bar, And I'm not recommending that, but it's something that is available. And if that's all that's available, or if that's the cheapest option to go, you know, some libraries are free, some libraries aren't. I remember I had to pay a little fee, a little something for our conference, but it certainly wasn't anything that broke the bank. So by all means, if you find a location that works, if it ends up being, you know, in your city, if it ends up being Mobile, if it ends up being Baltimore, if you find a place that works, then if it works, it works.
Okay. Thanks.
No, thank you. Lily, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure I had what Joe said correct. You wanted 2 months for a deadline for people to put in bids and 3 months for it to be decided. So that would be something like August 9th meeting, deadline for locations going in, and sometime before or on September 6th for deciding the location.
That is what I recommended, yes.
Okay.
September 6th will be good because that's exactly 3 months out from the start of the 2026 conference. So we're talking about a Sunday meeting exactly 3 months out that we could say, okay, now it's time to discuss the, you know, where are we having the 27 meeting? I think that's a good timeline. Right on. Thank you. Was there anything else? Anyone had any comments on this? Comments, concerns? Joe, go ahead.
Motion to do a bylaws change meeting on next meeting.
So essentially you were putting forward a motion to codify the recommendation. Lily, you already did take note of exactly what is being recommended, correct?
Aye.
All right, perfect. There is a motion on the table.
Second.
Thank you. So that is a motion for new business for next week to discuss codifying the bylaws changes. And since it is a motion for next week, I would say a motion and a second is good enough. Are there any objections to having this on the table for new business next week? Motion passed. All right. So next week, Lily, please make sure the new business for the meeting on July 5th, which actually, Joe, I haven't forgotten your point. We can discuss that next. Unless we want to discuss other pieces of new business, Lily, Lily, in a second, I will have you read out what we have on the table for new business. And then in that, we will include Joe's recommendation to discuss the 5th, just because I feel like we should at least give that an old look at. So was there, first of all, motion passes on the bill for next week. Lily, could you please read out the new business items for today?
So on new business for today, there's dropping Texas to probationary status. There is a prediction markets platform addition based on the blank that was sent back from PNC to the platform committee. There is the recommendation from the June 18th ad hoc committee on election related bylaws changes. And there is a right to repair blank from platform.
Okay, thank you. So there is a bylaws change that is already on the table that we were discussing for the election. May I recommend, and I apologize for kicking a can, but since that is a recommended bylaws change on the table and Joe's bylaws change is also pertaining to the election or pertaining to the conference as a whole, would anyone be opposed to pushing that back one more week to have those conversations in conjunction with one another?
Makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, perfect. Lily, if you could move that piece of new business to next week's agenda, it'd be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, the other pieces of new business you had mentioned were the dropping Texas to probationary status, the right to repair plank, and the predicted markets platform edition. I think the first thing that'd be the easiest to discuss would be the status of Texas. Before we go any further, James, did you want to ID? If you did, you can ID. If not, we can move forward.
Sure, I guess I'll ID myself. My name is James from the North Carolina Pirate Party.
Thank you, James. Much appreciated. Wanda, go ahead.
I just wanted to say Mars also popped in. I don't know if I heard Mars.
No, I did not actually give Mars the chance to identify as well. Mars, if you wish to identify, you may do so.
Hi, I'm Mars Bale. I'm the Ohio pirate here, along with Mike, and also the national webmaster.
Thank you, Mars. And since you did come in late, just for the record, Mikey will still remain as the voting member for tonight's meeting, unless Mike gives that up to you. But otherwise, Mike will vote on any Ohio business tonight. So thank you guys for stopping in. So I think, like I said, the first business to jump into would be Texas. There actually has not been, to my knowledge, a motion to have Texas drop to probationary status, but I know that's something, Wanda, you were thinking about doing. So, floor is yours, and then if you can, give your motion, your rationale, anything, by all means.
Alrighty, so Texas has been absent from the last 3 meetings. Texas has not had an active website for a while. Their social media accounts aren't active. I reached out in the Texas server, letting them know, hey, can y'all please send a rep to the next meeting? And I basically got back, if we're unable to continue being a member state, I understand. I hope things improve. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is Texas is just no longer an actually active state party, and it seems that they need to be dropped.
All right, thank you, Wanda. So as of right now, there is a motion on the table to move Texas to probationary status, which is a move not unprecedented this year. Obviously, California has been on probationary status twice this year. Indiana's been put on probationary status once this year. And we've seen that it can end in either or. So, Joe first, and then Wanda again.
I have no issues with putting Texas to probation status. However, Wanda, if you get me their contact info so I can go out and support them, and see about getting them back within our ranks and see what I can do to help them out. That being said, I think it still is worthy of an idea to put people into probation that are not attending for that very reason that it does mess with our quorum.
So, Joe, just so we're clear, is that a second in terms of moving Texas to probationary status?
All right.
Perfect. Thank you. Wanda, go
Point
ahead.
of order.
Yes, sure.
I did not actually make the motion.
Thank you, Wanda. I apologize. So I confused your
Motion.
rationale with your motion itself. I present the floor back to you. There is, to be clear, Joe, there was no motion to second.
I'm motioning to put Texas to probationary status.
Well, that cuts the middleman. Are there any seconds on the table?
Second.
Wanda, he stole your thunder.
Still Wanda's thunder.
Okay, so as of right now,
All right.
there's a motion on the table and there's a third. Are there any objections or discussions to be had about moving the Texas Pirate Party to to probationary status rather?
I would like a vote on this matter to be conducted with roll call.
Absolutely. So if there are no discussions to be had, I will go down the PNC member list as I have it in alphabetical order. So to the PNC voting members, I ask Arizona.
Seconded.
Thank you. So that is a aye to move Texas to probationary status. Florida.
Aye.
Thank you. Illinois.
Sorry, aye.
Thank you. Indiana.
That's an aye.
Thank you. Maryland.
Aye.
Thank you. Massachusetts?
Aye.
Thank you. Ohio, and Mikey, you are muted. Just a heads up. You are the voting member today.
Aye.
Thank you. Pennsylvania?
Aye.
And there is no active Texas rep to place the vote. So under that note, for PNC members present, that is a 8-0 vote. Therefore, Texas, as of right now, is on probationary status. Texas does not lose their vote being a probationary member. However, they do need to send a representative to PNC. They need to address their website situation. And once both are addressed, a PNC member state can simply vote to have them taken off probationary status, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is at least a month on probationary status. When would they need to address by? I believe, like I said, a month. So I think in late July, we will, I believe July 26th. I don't know if there's a specific timeline. I don't want to actually say that out loud. I don't want to have a date suggestion. I think we'll take it. Let me just make sure we're live again. Should be, right? Are we live? Did we go live again?
Ooh, let me check.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we're good to go. Sorry about that, folks. I'm sure you all noticed us dropping a second ago. All three of you watching live. To that point, Wanda, if you did have a suggestion on a date for a deadline, by all means.
Yes, I'd like us to set their deadline as August 2nd, since that would be the first meeting after the full month has gone by.
All right, so there's a motion on the table essentially granting them the entire month of July to shape up or ship out. Are there any seconds for that?
This doesn't have to be a motion. This is just Wanda suggesting that that would be on the agenda for then. If there's no objections, no action is needed.
Right on. In that case, we already have the second and the motion and the vote. And Lily, if you would like to, then if you plan your notes that far ahead, August 2nd, we can put that in the agenda to discuss their positioning and whether, and there's going to be one of three options. They're either off probationary status, they're off the Pirate National Committee Board, whether that be temporary or permanently, or they stay on probationary status until they properly address everything that needs to be addressed. So thank you. Joe, go ahead.
I've already emailed them, so the email is out there.
Thank you, Mr. Lookout. Or become an observer state. Yes, so if you that would be losing your spot at the Pirate National Committee Board. You would lose your membership, just meaning you lose your vote. That does not make you not a pirate party anymore. That simply puts you at observer status for the time being. But once you've addressed all previous issues and once you've started to, get the ball rolling in the way that that signifies that you don't need to be on probationary status anymore, a simple vote to ascend your party will take place. So it's not a complicated process. It's not something that is very hindering. I know, like for California, all we need is a regular PNC attendee, which Darren being here is hopefully a sign of things to come. So yeah, it would just, if at the end of this, if by August 2nd, Texas hasn't properly addressed it, and the decision is for them to lose their status as a PNC member, any Texas representative arriving would be considered a member or an observer state representative at the meeting. Thank you. So with that out of the way, we can move on to the next piece of business. So we only have two pieces of business left, and that is right to repair and the predictions market. And that is a coin flip. So I actually think the right to repair might be the quicker discussion because I think that's the easier ad. But really, I'll let whoever wishes to present the first piece of business decide who wishes to present that business.
I can present for the right to repair plank.
Lily, you have the floor.
So at the most recent platform committee meeting, there was a proposal for a right to repair plank, and it's been moved to the PNC. I'll copy over the text to the chat box in Jitsi. It's mainly that our platform doesn't currently address right to repair, and that's generally one of the more important issues in pirate movements from all that I've seen.
And for those who are watching at home, I'm going to paste the comment into the YouTube chat, and I apologize because it's already one of those comments that's going to require a two-parter. However, I would like to make sure the people who are watching at home have the ability to see what's actually being written. But as everyone who is actually reading it here at this meeting can see, it is currently in the comments section. I will let you all read that and go over it. And then if anyone has any comments immediately, you can raise your hand and speak up on it. But otherwise, I will just let you guys sit here for a moment and just see what you think.
If there's no further input, I would like to move to adopt this plank.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Right on. Perfect. So as of right now, the motion on the table is to adopt this plank to the Pirate Party platform. It is a right to repair plank. Let me ask, is there any objections? Like, does anyone read this and go, no, there's no reason to add this? Because that would seem insane to me. But don't let me talk you out of it. Joe, go ahead.
I actually did bring up something with Lily. I think this is really well written, and I think I agree with it 100%. But it does bring up a plank very, very similar, which is digital ownership. And I don't know how much crossover we have or if we want a separate plank for that. But it's something that I would like us to also work on. So things that we download, we're allowed to own instead of being licensed, things of that nature. And I think it runs very parallel to this, if not some crossover.
Well, Joe, can I briefly ask you? I'm sorry, Lily. Can I just briefly ask Joe? Is there a space in this current platform as it is written where you would include your section of digital ownership, or where you would clarify digital ownership?
I would just add it to the plank and clarify that also, whether it be digitally or physically, you have a right of ownership.
So, as a brief suggestion, where the platform currently starts, we believe purchasing is ownership. Whether you buy a tractor, a motorcycle, or an iPhone, you should own the device. Might I suggest a simple addition after you should own the device of, if you buy it digitally, you should. I'm trying to
See
think,
where I'm going with
but
that?
basically, I see what you're saying. That I'm just trying to. I see how a simple mention of digital ownership, just a brief sentence, a brief mention of it, just to touch it. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Joe.
Well, a lot of I'm specifically speaking to Microsoft, that you buy a word processor. I have a word processor on my Atari. I don't need to pay a licensing fee for a freaking word processor. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, if you buy something digitally, you shouldn't wake up one morning to find out that it's been pulled from the library and you don't have access to it anymore. That's quite literally if purchasing is an ownership, piracy isn't theft. But Lily, then Wanda. If Wanda still has something to say.
I believe something like that would fit better in the copyright portion. I believe it's, what is it? I cannot remember the actual name of the plank, but that plank, I believe, needs some update, and that would be in my opinion, the best place to address this, since generally it's companies using the concept of intellectual property to reach into your property. And I think it's better to go in a more intellectual property focused area of the platform. Right to repair is just slightly different since it's physical devices and a very specific subset of that absolutely needs to be addressed.
Solid argument. I withdraw my objection.
Right on. Excellent. All right, so there is a motion on the table to adopt this plank in that case as is. And there is a second on the table. Are there any objections? Because otherwise, regardless, I will be taking roll call, knowing I will be asked to do so in a moment.
Mitch, could you take roll call?
Sure, why not? Wanda, he's on fire today. He's stealing all your thunder, lightning and thunder. So
Mikey, I think you're hot mic'd.
hang on.
I got him.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. That said, we can do roll call. So for adding the right to repair plank to the platform, Arizona.
Aye.
Thank you. Florida.
Aye.
Thank you. Illinois, I saw no longer has their voting member present today. Indiana.
That's an aye.
Thank you. Maryland.
Aye.
Thank you. Massachusetts.
Aye.
Thank you. Ohio. Thank you. Pennsylvania.
Aye.
Thank you. And Texas also does not have their rep present. So therefore, the motion will pass on a 7-0 vote. Congratulations to the platform committee because you guys got one on. You guys got right to repair onto the platform committee, which, by the way, long time coming. It seems crazy they didn't actually have right to repair vocalized and written down. So the fact that this can finally get added to the platform is a very good thing. Are there any objections to this simply being titled right to repair, or is there a specific framing you prefer that this is under?
I think right to repair would be fine.
That's what I figured. I just wanted to put it out there for people. All right, perfect. Is there anything else we had for the well, yes, we had one more piece of business for the meeting, and then that'll conclude our new business, and that was the prediction markets platform addition. So we already have added one. Will we add another? We can go forward and discuss this next piece of business. Lily, go ahead.
So at not the most recent platform meeting, but at the one the week previously, there was a lot of discussion on the markets and economy plank that was sent back from PNC a couple of weeks ago. And what came out of the discussion at platform committee was a one sentence addition to the putting individuals before institutions plank that addresses prediction markets directly, since we couldn't come to a consensus on a larger plank, and that's where a stance on prediction markets would fit best.
Thank you, Lily. And then if you could paste that in the chat just so we could read it, I'd appreciate that. Joe, go ahead.
So in terms of that, I'm very happy that the platform committee is working as intended. One of the things that I would like to bring up as an additional thing to keep your eye on is federal laws. I think the platform committee should be looking at the federal laws, looking at the left, looking at the right, and putting the pirate spin on all of those. So that way we can stay super current. Sorry, it was more of a side note than what you were discussing directly.
The specific added language is we will ban betting on sports, war, and political outcomes in prediction markets while imposing extensive prohibitions on insider trading. And that's basically the text of a current law that's very unlikely to pass the House right now.
I actually did not see who was first between Joel and Drew, but it is you two next.
I believe it was Drew by a nose.
Thank you. In that case, we'll go Drew then Joel.
I mean, doesn't matter. I do have a bit of an objection to this because I remember when we first were talking about this. I do not. I do not support a blanket ban on wagers. I support a ban on those who have influence over the events that they are betting on, like a sports player betting on their own team, somebody in Congress or in administration betting on a war, whether a war is going to happen or not. I don't think we should be focusing on the potential corruption issues, not taking away everybody else's freedom to bet. And as much as these prediction markets are a problem, the problem really becomes there's two problems, right? With gambling is people that are addicted, they're going to be a problem, and people that have insider information. And I can't support this as written.
Hello.
Yes.
Ahoy.
Ahoy, Blaze. Hell, Blaze, since you're here, do you want to ID really quick and then we'll jump into Joel?
Okay, Blaze Henry, Arizona captain and United States vice captain.
Thank you kindly. Thank you, Blaze. Joel, go ahead.
I was gonna pretty much say what Drew was saying, that I want to make sure that the language speaks to this is an anti-corruption plank, not a social ills plank, because I'm not going to sail on the ship if you won't let me roll the dice once in a while.
Yeah, to that point,
to be fair, I'm going to steal your money anyway.
To your point, and it is a good point, I don't want to lose sight of the facts, right? That, I wrote Through the Spyglass on Hibition, and that being, the concept of sobriety is self-determination. And in that, I discussed why prohibition didn't work, because you're trying to outlaw a vice. You're trying to outlaw something that, isn't exactly something that was caused by the government. It's a vice. What I think the problem is that the government shouldn't be adding to it. It's actually a position that I disagree with wholeheartedly, is government telling you what you can and can't do. The government, no one likes being told what to do. But I do think that if you have the ability to affect something personally, and it's a market where money can be made off it, and you are manipulating it, market manipulation is absolutely a no-go. I'm 100% opposed to it. But the way that it is written now, it does seem like it's an anti-gambling plank outright. And I do want to just put forward that is a risk that, might be an overreach in terms of what I would view as a pirate position, to echo those points. Now, unfortunately, with the four of you with your hands up, I can't remember for sure, but I do believe it's Wanda, Darren, Lily, Jester. And if I'm wrong, let me know.
I think it was Jester, then Lily.
Thank you. In that case, Wanda, Jester, Lily, fuck, you guys know what's going on. Please, whoever's first, go first.
Mine was a mistake. So.
Thank you, Darren. In that case, between the three is
I
you
did want
guys.
to clarify the consensus we reached in platform committee on this, which was that prediction markets are not the same thing as regulated gambling, and that a ban on betting on sports prediction markets would not be a ban on sports gambling. I did want to clarify that that was the position the platform committee held in regards to this.
Mitch, you are
You're muted.
Muted. Yeah.
Fuck. Jester, Lily, Drew. Thank you, Wanda.
So, in regards to this, I'm actually on board with it. Not with I agree that like a blanket ban on gambling, especially regulated gambling, is probably not a good thing. However, given the sheer scale of penetration of our societies, specifically America, in the past 12 months by these prediction markets like Kalshi and whatnot, that I think at least, on a national level, we should be in favor of at least a blanket, uh, you know, paused investigation into the prediction markets. And at least I think that there should be a blanket ban on general purpose prediction markets, and that anything that is can be used for a prediction on anything for betting should be outlawed outright. Now, for like, for platform specific things, like if there's sports betting, I think there could be more of an argument there. But this sort of thing where you can straight up bet on anything, it's going to lead to complete insider trading and whatnot. And even allowing these general purpose platforms to exist will create problems for us, and we need to be willing to deal with those. And just trying to regulate them into compliance won't work. It'll just I think it'll require a straight blanket ban on things like Kalshi.
Thank you, Jester. Lily, and then Drew. Did you still have your hand up? If yes, so then you after Lily.
I wanted to make sure a few points were clear about the exact language in this. Prediction markets, as they currently stand, people say they have some value. I've never used them. I'm not going to answer on that question. But for Kalshi, for instance, 85% of its volume is sports betting related. And generally, it does not comply with state sports betting regulations because it's done in a complicated manner with a marketplace and contracts that execute and this and that and the other thing. And by doing that, they are trying to circumvent existing regulations. That's most of what their business model relies on. Simply banning sports, war, and political outcomes on prediction markets would be closing that loophole because it's not illegal if we do it with an app, and it's a different type of app.
Thank you, Lily. Drew, go ahead.
My take on this, and it's sort of something that we're seeing in Pennsylvania. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Pennsylvania skill games, which are essentially slot machines that have been, because of a minor change in how the programming was set up, it found a loophole in the slot machine laws in Pennsylvania. So, just like last week, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania decided that those skill machines are slot machines and are subject to the regulations regarding slot machines. I think our platform should be that prediction markets are gambling and are subject to the regulations and the rules that are set forth against any other legal gambling, and that and also emphasize that insider trading, insider information trading where you can influence the outcome is and should be illegal.
Might I make a brief suggestion just because I think I'm kind of picking up on the crux of the deal? I think Lily, it was a bit of a masterstroke, and if it's not just you, I apologize to anyone else who deserves the credit for this. But I think putting this under individuals before institutions is smart because I think that's the framing to take. I think betting and trying to make little money off of what you're watching, that is a individual's venture. People involved in the institution shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I think that's kind of where it has to get down to. And that's what the nitty gritty has to be confirming that, I don't care if Joe Jackson's betting on a baseball game. I care if shoeless Joe Jackson's betting on the White Sox during a baseball game. There's a difference in that. And frankly, I think betting on war is disgusting. But the one person who really needs to be kept from that is and the people who are in charge of whether or not that war happens. That's the outright ban that needs to happen. That those in the institution shouldn't be allowed to manipulate the institution to their benefit for. I mean, fuck you. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can go to Vegas and bet on WWE events. That seems like the most fucking crooked, bass backwards thing I've ever heard in my life. That in wrestling you could change the card the day of. You could change the outcome of the match right before the match happens. That seems fucking insane. Hearing yeah. To be clear, I'm not a fan of that Joe Jackson. That Joe Jackson is not my friend. Uh, that said, uh, Lily and the rest of the platform committee, I think that the position and where it's located and where it would be put in the platform is correct. I think as a spot in individuals before institutions, that is indeed the correct place to put it. I do have to echo some of the concerns we've heard today. That I think, as it's presently written, it's not abundantly clear that that's how it's intended. Uh, I just think that a small tweak, just to say that it's the insiders in the industry that need to be kept from it, that uh, that would be my suggestion. But I'm not here to make suggestions or do all that shenanigans. Wanted to go ahead.
I did want to make a motion to adopt this amendment to the individuals before institutions plank. I'm not confident it'll pass, and if it doesn't, we can continue to retool this. Um, but I did want to get an on-record vote on this tonight.
Right on. So there is currently a motion on the table to adopt this plank as written. So mind you that there are currently discussions that we have been having in terms of what could be added, could not be added, and to echo Wanda's statement, that is simply to get a roll call on, where we currently sit. What, how much, pushback are we getting, and how much do we need to actually, tweak or improve or whatever. But we can certainly have this. But to Lily's point, we do need a second, and then Lily, you can go ahead.
Second.
Thank you, Blaze. Lily, was there anything you had other than seeking the second? Misclick. Got it. Okay, so currently, Arizona has seconded the motion on the table. And then actually, Blaze, I do need to be fair. I will accept the second if there are no objections to that. But as you did come in late, as Arizona did already have their rep, the same way that I told Mars, you are technically considered the secondary rep for Arizona tonight. So when
Okay.
Arizona's vote comes up, it would be to the original Arizona rep. But I will, as such, still accept your second the same way that if David seconded it, I would have accepted that too. So thank you, Blaze. We can go on this vote. I will go down the line. Note that this is currently to adopt this plank as is written. Arizona.
Aye.
Thank you. Florida.
Aye.
Thank you. Illinois is not here. Indiana.
Aye.
Thank you. Maryland.
Nay.
Thank you. Massachusetts.
Nay.
Thank you. Ohio. Very well. Mars.
Abstain.
Thank you. Pennsylvania.
Nay.
Thank you. And Texas is absent. So with there being 3 ayes, 3 nays, 1 abstain, and both Illinois and Texas are out, there is technically a tie on the board, which will give
Motion
us
failed.
a simply motion failed. Is that what I just heard?
There's not a majority.
Excellent. That said, I would say with confidence, I don't want to make assumptions, and I apologize for making it seem like an assumption, but Illinois would have likely voted no on that regardless. So to that note, I just want to say thank you to the platform committee for putting that forward, and that we will certainly be. I think we're like a week away, to be completely honest with you. I think just a slight tweak, just to clarify the position, is all we're looking for. I think that this would be in the platform as soon as July 5th, if we really wanted it to be. Blaze, you may go ahead.
Don't we have a tiebreaker sort of thing with the votes when that happens? Or am I mistaken?
I don't know. I believe because the last time we had a tiebreaker scenario, we had practically begged the abstention vote to make a decision, but that was because it was Chris Erickson, and we couldn't really push that ahead. So I don't know. Otherwise, I think Liz has stated that the captain should get the tiebreaker vote, but that's not something that I personally want to give myself that power to do. But to really just straight up answer your question, Blaze, I don't believe that there is a actual method in terms of when it comes to a tiebreaker. I don't think we have that.
I think in Robert's rules, the chair would ordinarily break a tie, but I also think it doesn't really matter here because the outcome would have been the same either way, if we're being honest.
Yeah, let's be real here. However, that said, yeah, I mean, the outcome would be the same had you given me the vote. But I think regardless, this is good. I think that we had that proper discussion. I think we are closer to being in unison than we were previously, which means that the platform committee did their job and rewrote it and made it a little more palatable. That we're actually on the right track. And so that's all the credit in the world to our platform committee for getting this, here. Like I said, I think we're this close. So thank you. Joe, go ahead.
I just want to also support Mitch in what he's saying. I would have voted yes on this, but we have to be very precise in our language because we don't want those who are against us pirates to have any ground to say, well, they're against all this and they're against you being able to be free and gamble or do whatever it is that you want to do. So I think it really speaks to what we're saying. We have to be very precise in saying and being very careful in saying what we're for and what we're against. I think that the bulk of the work that you did in writing this is beautiful. I just think it needs a little more tweaking, and then you'll have my vote.
Thank you, Joe. Just a touch of the je ne sais quoi, and it'll be there. Perfect. And by the way, for those of you keeping score at home, the platform committee actually did succeed tonight, and our platform has been updated to currently read the right to repair plank. So platform committee did do something fantastic and get right to repair on the platform tonight. So thank you guys. With that being said, that is the end of new business and the end of old business. Is there any other business? Otherwise, I'll certainly accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I hear that
Second.
motion and I hear a second. Wanda, I did see your hand briefly go up. Was there something? Is there an
Oh, that
objection?
was to motion to adjourn.
I'll accept it. Am I going to be asked for a roll call, or will I just ask for
Roll call.
unanimous decision? Oh, you mother! It's okay. I'm kidding. Very well. Arizona.
Adjourn.
Perfect. Florida.
Nay.
I knew it. Illinois is not here. Indiana.
Aye.
Thank you. Maryland.
Abstain.
Massachusetts.
Indubitably.
That's a here. That's an I. Ohio. Thank you. Pennsylvania.
Aye.
And Texas is not here. So, folks, despite Maryland and Florida's best efforts, this meeting has now ended. Thank you all so much for attending. Thank you all so much for being the best in the West, even you East Coast folk. I want to thank all of you for attending. Next week, we'll also be on live stream. July 5th will be an open meeting. Joe, we were going to vote yes to having the meeting. I apologize, but I think that was going to end up being the case regardless. But I did just realize we missed that. But the meeting is open next week, and anyone who is available to attend next week may we click on the link that we will be posting. You can join our Discord, which is where we will have the link posted. That is the best way to keep up with pirates in your state and nationwide. Drew, do you know why I love this party? I love this party because we believe the United States should be a good neighbor. We believe in cool, clean water, like Hank said. We believe in right to repair. And we believe that if purchasing isn't ownership, well, then piracy isn't theft. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Vote pirate and victory